Good afternoon, and we're glad to have you here. Now, it's a Thursday afternoon, and it's 2:30, so you should already know what's happening here. If you don't, it's of course another phenomenal episode of your favorite show, and that is Straight Talk, brought to you strictly by My Zone. We have a debate engagement that aims to give you constructive thinking ideas coming from these young, vibrant Namibian phenomenal individuals from, of course, various high schools within the city. So today we have a very interesting motion, and today we're discussing animal rights. Now, if you haven't heard the case of Voortrekker, that was an elephant specifically, that was shot down after it was classified as a problem animal by the government. So today we're engaging and incorporating high school debaters and their thoughts on this particular topic in the motion, which reads, like in the case of Voortrekker, this house believes that the best way to deal with a problem animal is by putting it down. So everybody here is familiar with this motion and is ready to give you all their arguments and leave nothing unsaid. So right here on Straight Talk, of course, we have our wonderful timekeeper in the house, that is Maricel. So if you hear clapping here in studio, do not be alarmed. That is simply Maricel informing the speakers of their time and how much time they have left to speak. So after 1 minute, Maricel is going to clap, and that means that everybody is allowed to give a POI. After 7 minutes, Maricel claps again, and this means that that is the end of POI. If you don't know what a POI is, this is when another speaker interjects or gives a question to the person that is at the podium. So at 7 minutes, and 30 seconds, Maricel gives a double clap, and that means that the speaker should round up their speech. And at 8 minutes, of course, we're going to clap the speaker off because all the speakers have 8 minutes speakers time. So not to bore you with all of that, because you obviously want to hear about the lovely story of the elephant that's behind me right now. So with no further ado, we're going to call up the first speaker from Team Proposition, and that is Nikolai.
Okay, so I'm going to start with my case split. As first speaker, I'll be giving you why we should do this, why it's necessary. My second speaker will give you the incentives and how we should use better mechanisms. My third speaker will compare and rebut, strengthen our case. Now let's start with characterization. Humans are too vulnerable. Even if you're carrying a normal gun, a normal pistol, you won't be able to defend yourself from something like a 10-ton elephant. The bullets won't penetrate it, and you will die. So what I'm trying to say here is, this should be, okay, so we're too vulnerable, we need this. This is for protection. As government, our mandate is to protect our citizens. It's going against our mandate to ensure your safety if we do not protect you from these animals. But remember, we're only putting down problematic animals. So what makes an animal problematic? A problematic animal is an animal that continuously attacks or bullies a village or a particular area. Or they're more aggressive, they have a higher tendency to attack humans. For example, a mother elephant, she sees a human, she charges and tramples the person. So that's what makes the animal problematic. Those are the type of animals we're going to put down. So for my first point, we value human life above all else. This is true because, like I said before, this is our mandate. Our mandate is to protect and remove the problems. And in this case, the problems are the dangerous animals, the problematic animals. By doing so, we support our mandate and we complete our duty. Because remember, human life is priceless. What would Team Opposition want? Would they want to save a baby human or a baby snake? Because human life is priceless. We should value human life. My second point is why it's effective. It's so effective because it immediately rids the problem. Because remember, the animal is problematic. We're not saying you should put down an animal that seems aggressive, but as long as you can tell, like it's obvious the animal's going to attack you. Other methods are not effective. They're just very cruel. If you isolate the animal, they're social like humans. It will just become more bitter, and it will obviously harm the person that cleans its cage, because they will have to make contact with the animal. It's not getting rid of the problem, it's still there. Someone will have to interact with it. So the second method of getting rid of animals is to sedate them, but this also isn't effective. If you sedate an animal, it just leaves it lying there unconscious. The animal will obviously get up, it will be a bit droozy, like it took drugs or something, but it will still attack the village if it wants to. It will still attack. It's still there. It's not like you got rid of it, you just put it down. And when you do sedate, it takes long. If you shoot an elephant with a tranquilizing dart, it will still be able to kill you. So you shoot it, it will kill you. And then it falls asleep. It will still be around, it will still move around, it will still harm people. With the isolation, I already told you, the workers. Again, human life in danger. Our mandate is to protect human life, because someone has to clean the cage. So, team opposition, would you rather a child trampled with its corpse lying there for its mother to find, or preventing that from happening? That, I rest my case.
Ladies and gentlemen, we think that killing is bad, and it is only justified when it is absolutely necessary, ladies and gentlemen. We think that putting down these animals is totally unnecessary. Why? Because we have other solutions for these animals, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that we are able to take these animals to game reserves such as Etosha National Park, ladies and gentlemen, such as Okapuka Game Reserve. So we think that putting down these animals is detrimental to our ecosystem, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, it should not be done. We tell you that in the case of today's debate, ladies and gentlemen, we have many other solutions. Therefore, we think that killing these animals is very bad, ladies and gentlemen. So, what did we hear from Team Proposition? Firstly, their major argument was to protect the citizens, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that in our world, we are able to do that as well. Why? Because we provide other solutions by removing these problematic animals from these areas where they're harming people, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that these are effective solutions because places such as Etosha National Park, you don't have animals going around killing people, ladies and gentlemen. That barely ever happens, if it ever happens, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that we are then helping people, and in our world, we have all the solutions that they're speaking of. So we think that them providing the solution of killing these animals is totally unnecessary, ladies and gentlemen. They told us that they're going to put these animals down. They did not describe to us how they're going to do this whatsoever, ladies and gentlemen. So we can only assume that the way that they're going to do this is going to be totally and completely inhumane, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to tell you that these animals are going to suffer, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that it's going to create incentives for cruelty towards these animals, and we think that this is going to be absolutely awful, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that there is no need to kill these animals because there are better solutions for these things, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that these animals are in a rural area, so they're very easy to get a hold of, ladies and gentlemen, and it's very easy to move them, ladies and gentlemen. They told us how tranquilizing these animals is not effective. We think that it's totally effective, ladies and gentlemen, because we can just shoot this animal and then move it afterwards, ladies and gentlemen. We told you that we're going to get these animals out of people's way, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to keep people and animals safe, ladies and gentlemen. In doing so, we're going to protect our ecosystem, and we're going to protect these animals that are generally endangered, ladies and gentlemen. Secondly, we tell you that it is immoral to do these things. We tell you that it is immoral to put these animals down, ladies and gentlemen. We have to look at the situations of these animals. Why are these animals in the circumstances that they're in, ladies and gentlemen? It's generally due to urbanization and human areas developing, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that because of this, us putting these animals down is completely and totally immoral because the positions that they're in of terrorizing people in people's areas is generally people's fault, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, we think that us doing this is completely immoral, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that it's going to lead to animal rights being disregarded, ladies and gentlemen. And in today's debate, we have to realize that animals are sentient beings and some semi-sentient, ladies and gentlemen. And as humane people, we cannot risk abusing the rights of something that is sentient, ladies and gentlemen. We think that is totally immoral, and that is not what we aim to be as a society, ladies and gentlemen. So we tell you that instead of us putting down these animals and instead of us killing them when it's totally and completely unnecessary, ladies and gentlemen, we provide other better solutions for you, ladies and gentlemen. That first, it protects these endangered animals, ladies and gentlemen, when what they do in their world, ladies and gentlemen, is they further contribute to the extinction of endangered animals such as elephants, ladies and gentlemen. We feel that that is particularly problematic in their case. We tell you that now, instead of animals being killed humanely, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to these animals are going to be shot, ladies and gentlemen. These animals, their rights are going to be abused, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of an animal just being killed properly, what is going to happen? These animals are going to be stabbed to death, and we think that this is awful, ladies and gentlemen. We think that these are the awful things that are going to happen when you make it allowed for these awful things to happen. Yes.
How do you stab an elephant to death?
I don't know, but we think that that's not our burden to prove, ladies and gentlemen. What we think our burden to prove is that there's going to be cruelty towards these animals, ladies and gentlemen. We think that them asking that POI does not win them that debate, and we think that they could have spent their time asking a better POI than that.
Yes,
we think that what it leads to, ladies and gentlemen, is cruelty towards these animals, and that's what we think is the point of today's debate, ladies and gentlemen. We think, I'll take you later, Nami. We think that this is bad because it's going to reduce stigma towards killing of animals, ladies and gentlemen. Because when we say it's okay, you can kill this animal, ladies and gentlemen, we think that the stigma around killing animals is going to be reduced, and we think that this is going to be very bad because more and more animals are going to be killed, ladies and gentlemen. We think that this is particularly problematic, ladies and gentlemen, because then the animal rights of animals are going to be seen, the abuse of animal rights are going to be seen as less problematic, and less attention is going to be paid to these things, ladies and gentlemen. We think that this is bad, and we think that it is immoral. We think that you cannot punish an animal for being an animal, ladies and gentlemen. We think that an animal only acts the way it acts because of its instinct and because it is an animal. We think that for you to kill it because it is being what it naturally is totally immoral, ladies and gentlemen, and they have to come and defend that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, moving on to my first argument. Okay, it opens up incentives for cruelty towards animals. Why? We think that killing, like we told you, should only be done when it's absolutely necessary, ladies and gentlemen. We told you that many of these animals are endangered, and instead of putting them down, it is our duty to protect them through putting them in game reserves such as Etosha National Park, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that when they are killed, there's we tell you that there's other options to avoid this, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that when you create this incentive for cruelty, ladies and gentlemen, you're basically telling people, oh, it's okay to kill animals because there are other solutions, yet you still do it, ladies and gentlemen. We think that this is detrimental to our ecosystem, and this is detrimental to the morality and the beliefs of society, ladies and gentlemen. We think that this is particularly problematic, and that's something that they have to come and deal with, ladies and gentlemen. We think that when animal rights are disregarded, ladies and gentlemen, what is it going to lead to? It's going to lead to the overkilling of these animals, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to lead to things such as poaching not being paid attention to, ladies and gentlemen. We think that's very problematic, ladies and gentlemen. That's something that they have to come and deal with. We prove that cruelty does exist in their world, and we think that this is very bad because animals are in fact sentient beings, ladies and gentlemen. Now to move on to tell you about the other alternatives that we provided for you. These alternatives are better alternatives because animals are then able to live better qualities of life, ladies and gentlemen. We think that we protect endangered animals instead of simply putting them down, ladies and gentlemen. We think that when you put them down, more animals are going to be killed, ladies and gentlemen. Incentives for cruelty are going to be opened up, ladies and gentlemen. And we think that that's something very problematic in their case, that they have to come and deal with. So because we protect the rights of animals, ladies and gentlemen, and because we provide other alternatives and better alternatives for humans and animals, we are so proud to oppose.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Hedley Govas and I'll be the second speaker. Okay, so first I'm going to move into my points and then do rebutting. Okay, so we as government, judges, we would not like, as government, we would not like it if the people kill the animals, but it should be a last resort. Why do we give this to the people? We see that a person which is being attacked by a problematic animal cannot wait for the reserves and so forth to come and take this animal away. We see that we should give these people the opportunity to take things into their own hands, ladies and gentlemen. Why do we see this? Why do we see this as a benefit? Because one, if we give this into the person's hands, it is not necessary that then this does not let the person feel a burden. It feels that no, the animal is attacking me, and therefore I have a gun in my pocket and so forth. Why don't I use it? Because first, one, this person is then able to protect themselves, and two, it is a problematic animal, and therefore we're getting rid of it. So, this will benefit. This does not only benefit us people.
Sir?
I'll take you later, sir. Ma'am. So this does not only benefit us, but it also benefits. This does not only benefit us, but it also benefits the animals. Why do I say this benefits the animals? Because one, if there is a reserve owner somewhere out there, and that person is listening to me right now, that person will know that, okay, I need to find better ways to train this animal because I don't want to lose this animal. If I leave the animal as the way the animal is, the animal would get shot if the person is just walking around my things, and then I'll lose the animal. But if the person gets better mechanisms, then that person will know that no, I need to use this and I need to train my animal so that the animal knows how to react when it sees a human. So why do we see this as important? We see this as important because it does not only benefit us humans, but it benefits the reserve owner and it keeps the animal safe. And this is something that Team Proposition is trying to neglect. Okay, we live in a world where, as we had seen, where Voortrekker had attacked the village and therefore we are shot down. We see this as a problem because, number one, we get all animals. Where they come in and tell us that we cannot kill an animal for an animal being an animal. We see that there is an animal, a lion which is eating on an antelope, and then we see an animal which constantly attacks, a lion which is constantly attacking a village. We see this as a problem, and they cannot define all animals as being an animal because that animal is obviously a problematic animal. And why do we need to point this out? Because number one, we have a chance to take this. Yeah, before I move on, yeah.
When you say that when a lion is attacking a village or something, why can't you just move the lion instead of like...
Okay, thank you. That has also been pointed out in my first speaker's case of, listen, if we sedate the animal or so forth, if we sedate the animal, the animal's not going to be like, oh no, I've just been tranquilized, I need to wake up and change my life. That is not how an animal works. If an animal is sedated, all the animal will remember is, I fell down, I need to stand up, there's still a village waiting for me. That is what the animal will think of. And so this is something that Team Opposition is trying to neglect. We need to point out the fact that if we sedate an animal, which is apparently a better alternative, we need to think of the fact that if we sedate an animal, it is not changing the animal. Just as we take the animal and we put it into the zoo, this will not change the animal to become a problematic zoo. This will rather just, the animal will still have that gene in it, will still attack the cleaners and so forth, the feeders and so forth. So why is this true? Why should we care about this? We need to care because as the government, our main aim is to protect human life. And this is something that these people are trying to put off. They're trying to put animal life over human life. We are trying to, by giving these people the ability to take things into their own hands, but not in a bad way. We give these people the ability to use this as a last resort, because obviously the person will not see there's a lion walking 50 meters away from me. Why don't I shoot, because it might attack me? The person will know that no, the lion is charging to me, therefore I can shoot this animal because it's a problematic animal that's attacking me. This is something that we need to realize. So now I'm going to move into my rebuttal. So the first speaker came up here and told us that putting the animals down is unnecessary. But we tell you here that, listen, it is not unnecessary because that person has the ability to save their own life. They are not only taking things to their own hands, but they are saving themselves. Second, she comes up here and she says that, please, no. Second, she comes up here and she tells us that we are able to find better alternatives. But as I've came and told you that finding better alternatives such as no sedating the animal and so forth, it is not helping, because a problem animal will stay a problem animal unless we find better mechanism to change the animal. Yes, ma'am.
So you say that you're going to give people the opportunity to take these things into their own hands. Don't you think that giving people these opportunities and so much power is going to lead to cruelty towards animals and animal abuse?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. If we put these animals into a small cage, isolating them, this is also animal cruelty, because one, we are not changing the animal, because then it's just going to become more restless and so forth, and when the person needs to feed and so forth, it'll attack the person. We see this as a major problem, and they're taking it out will be quick and painless. And she comes up here also telling us that animals are going to suffer. Well, we're telling you here that the killing is a last resort, and if killing had to be the solution, then it's not going to be something that they constantly shoot and so forth. If a lion is attacking you, it only takes one shot to the head and then it's gone. It's not going to take forever. The animal is not going to feel it on its way to heaven. It immediately happens there and then it's gone. So what have I told you in today's debate? I have told you, so the main things I've pointed out in today's debate is, one, that in order to keep these animals alive, the reserve owners and so forth should find a better mechanism in order to train this animal so that it does not get killed, and that as government we need to care for our people. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am the second speaker from Team Opposition, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to tell you that killing animals is morally wrong, ladies and gentlemen. We're saying that that killing animals, as my first speaker has mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, that killing animals is immoral, and I came to tell you that that killing the animal is immoral because killing the animal is our solution to a problem that we created, ladies and gentlemen. Why do I say this, ladies and gentlemen? When I say that we are the cause, I mean that we put this animal in bad circumstances, ladies and gentlemen, which can be like less space, ladies and gentlemen, and bad treatment and less food, etc. When we kill an animal, this reduces the stigma towards the killing of animals just for the fun of it, ladies and gentlemen, like trophy hunting, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to continue with my rebuttals. The first speaker came up here and said that this animal is problematic, and that because it's problematic, we will have to like eradicate it and something like that. But we came here to tell you that no, he failed to tell us what makes the animal this problematic animal. He just decided that the Team Proposition just decided that no, they're gonna say no, but this animal is not problematic, we'll just kill it. They did not analyze what made this animal problematic. And then the second speaker came up here, and then he started talking about that killing was going to be something about last resort and stuff. And this proves that they are actually agreeing with us, saying that killing the animal is the last resort that we have to turn to if nothing else helps this animal, ladies and gentlemen. He also came up here and said that things about we need to change the animal. If your dog is like a problem in your yard, then this other guy can come kill him, and just so we have to first change the animal before the person comes and kills your animal. But this, no, thank you. But this is actually, but what I'm trying to say here is that he's agreeing with us in saying that there are better alternatives, ladies and gentlemen. This proves that he is completely contradicting his whole argument and whatever. Their team proposition comes up here and also tells us that no, we're just going to provide solutions for people and whatnot. But we come here and tell you that no, we provide solutions for people and the animals, ladies and gentlemen, which then provides us with a better stance because we take in consideration both animals and people, ladies and gentlemen, as they are sentient beings, as my first speaker mentioned.
Before you move on, sir,
Yes.
please justify why it's okay to let village children die because you want to protect the rights of the elephants.
We're not saying that we should let village children die because we want to protect the animals, the elephants' rights and whatever. We're saying that we will move the elephant, as you said now, the elephant, so that we can better the lives of the children and better the lives of the elephant, ladies and gentlemen.
Point
I
of
never said anything
clarification.
about animals going over humans and all of that. She just made that up just now. Anyway, moving on to what he said finally. He said that putting an animal in a cage is, because he answered the PRI of my first speaker, he said that putting an animal in a cage is like, what do you call it? Animal cruelty and all of that. But ladies and gentlemen, we are saying as team proposition that we will put them in larger reserves, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move an elephant, which is now cramped up, as he calls it, and then we're from terrorizing the villagers into
Before you
a
move
game
on, sir.
reserve, ladies. No, thank you. Into a game reserve, ladies and gentlemen. And I would like to move on by saying that humans, this is going to be building up on my on what I was saying about immorality and all of that. Humans and animals are both a subject of life, ladies and gentlemen, and we need to distinguish that we are both humans, we are both sentient beings, which means we need to respect one another, ladies and gentlemen. We can't just go around killing animals because they did something to a village. We should move the animal so that it betters the lives of the village and the animal, ladies and gentlemen. That is what team proposition do not understand. Ladies and gentlemen, they're also coming. When I say about humans and animals are both subjects of life, animals are conscious and aware that they exist, ladies and gentlemen. This means that if you go and hold a rifle to the animal's head, ladies and gentlemen, it will know what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just something that you can just shoot because it's there, and it won't know what's happening to it. That moves on to they know what's happening to them, which is basically the same thing about they are conscious and aware that they exist and so forth. And then they make conscious choices, ladies and gentlemen. They know that if something is happening to them, their natural instinct is to either fight or take flight. If they are put into a small little cage, obviously they will try and run away, but if that does not work, they will start fighting, ladies and gentlemen. Which means that because the animal is now stressed, we have to eradicate that animal by putting it into a larger reserve so they can be more free. How will we do this, ladies and gentlemen? We will first do a thorough investigation about which one is exactly the problematic animal, ladies and gentlemen, and then we will first tranquilize it, and then after that we will move it so that it does not cause problems on the way to the resort or whatever. And after that, ladies and gentlemen, we will first have then an investigation to see how the animal is doing and how the people are doing that the animal was terrorizing, ladies and gentlemen. When we see that the animal is still behaving strangely, ladies and gentlemen, we will take the next step, ladies and gentlemen. And after that, if that also doesn't work, the last resort that we use is then completely eradicating of this animal by killing it. We're not saying that we should do it first and foremost. I'd like to move on by saying that when you hold a gun to an animal's head, ladies and gentlemen, this proves that this animal, as I said before, they know what's going on. They will become frightened, and there's nothing. And frightened animals pose a greater threat than just a normal animal that's just terrorizing, ladies and gentlemen. This means that the animal, as I said earlier, will fight or flight, ladies and gentlemen. They will choose which one because they can make conscious choices, ladies and gentlemen. A captive animal has nowhere to run, therefore it will fight. So, and damage will be the result of that, ladies and gentlemen. We're saying this, when we say this, we're saying that because of the circumstances that the animal is in, ladies and gentlemen, it can be in a small reserve or whatever, and then it can start to lash out because it has nowhere to run, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I am proud to oppose.
Ladies and gentlemen, within my speech, I'll be doing three things. Firstly, strengthening my team's case. Secondly, rebutting whatever they brought up. And thirdly, telling you why on a comparative we win. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get into all of that, what world do we live in and what falls under today's debate? This House believes that the best way to deal with these problematic animals is to put them down, ladies and gentlemen. First, we have to look at the wording of the motion because they apparently ignored it when they were dealing with our case. We believe that it is the best way to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Nowhere in our entire speech did we ever mention that, okay, we're going to see an elephant and we're going to put it down because that's what we want people to do, ladies and gentlemen. We came and we told you that once an animal is identified in Nikolai's speech as problematic, that means it's a direct endangerment to the lives of the people, ladies and gentlemen. It is a continuous threat to the people. So we're not just going to shoot an elephant because we saw it somewhere close to a village in Caprifi. We're going to shoot the elephant once we see that this elephant has trampled 5 kids, it has trampled crops and houses, and destroyed livelihoods of these people, ladies and gentlemen. That just had to be cleared up on this side of the House, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, moving on into defending my team's case. What did we bring you in today's debate? 3 things. We told you firstly why we want to protect the lives of human beings and how, as the government, it is our mandate to put human lives over everything else. Firstly, when the government is put into place by the people, it's to protect people's lives, ladies and gentlemen. Things like animals' rights are all secondary benefits when they come and they're protecting them, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing the government should do in any single country, regardless of whether it's a democracy or not, is to protect their people. And by doing this, we're upholding this mandate of the government by protecting our people because we directly deal with the problem animal, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to shoot all the elephants, we're going to shoot the one that keeps trampling kids. Now, when you remove that elephant that keeps trampling kids and the other elephants who don't trample kids are unaffected, ladies and gentlemen, we are protecting the lives of the human being, one, ladies and gentlemen, and living up to our mandate, and two, we're letting the other elephants live their lives. It is not animal cruelty as they want you to believe, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that the protection of human life above all else is exactly why we want to do this in today's debate, and they have failed to tell us why animal cruelty is enough of a justification to let kids die, ladies and gentlemen. They failed to come and tell us why the rights of an animal are more valuable than the life of a human being, ladies and gentlemen. Secondly, what did we come and tell you about how it's effective? And this is basically why we should win today's debate, because the motion says the best way to deal with problematic animals. We told you it's more effective because it directly deals with the problem animal itself and removes it, ladies and gentlemen. Once that elephant is dead, it can no longer trample kids, ladies and gentlemen, so it is no longer a problem to society. But there are alternatives of moving the animal and like tranquilizing it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the two most common, and they're also ineffective, ladies and gentlemen, because when you tranquilize an elephant, you do not change anything about its nature, so you can trample a kid the next day when it wakes up, ladies and gentlemen. And the one that they focused on the most was just moving the animal in the first place. And Nikolai already told you preemptively why it is not effective. Because firstly, when you move an animal and put it into captivity, it just becomes more hostile, it becomes stressed, distressed, and at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, and more importantly, secondly, once you put an animal in captivity, people have to interact with that animal. And you're putting the lives of the people, for example, work in Etosha and those places in danger, because that elephant could still trample them, that problematic lion could still kill them, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day. So because it is the most effective way to deal with these problematic animals, that is why we win today's debate, but I'll be talking about more later in my speech. And thirdly, we tell you why in Hadley's speech, this incentivizes people who work in like conservation and whatever to come up with better mechanisms to deal with problem animals. If you work on a cheetah reservation and the government says the cheetahs that keep killing farmers, we're going to put them down, you don't want your cheetahs to be put down, so you come up with better ways to deal with them, and resulting in these people coming up with better mechanisms to deal with problem animals so we don't have to resort to killing them. Yes, Anesu.
Now, Mayor, don't you think that simply moving these animals to secure game reserves, such as Etosha, is more effective because they are away from people and you protect both animals and human beings?
No, we do not think this is effective in the slightest, and I'll talk about this later in my speech. But for now, to answer your POI, firstly, and moving it to Etosha, which is a captive place, we've already told you why putting animals in captive is bad. But secondly, we tell you that even in cases such as Etosha, we have had records of animals escaping and harming the people who live nearby. So even when you move it to places like Etosha, it's still a threat to the surrounding environment. And secondly, the people who work at Etosha, you're putting their lives in danger, because not only do they have to deal with this problematic lion, ladies and gentlemen, they're not allowed to do anything about it, because you as opposition have come up and said you're not allowed to kill the animal, you just have to deal with it. So if an animal attacks you and kills one of your workers, you're just going to have to deal with it. We're saying if an animal attacks you and kills your worker, you should be able to put it down. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, into my rebuttal about what opposition has brought to you in today's debate. Firstly, starting with Anesu, who comes and tells you how it's immoral to do this because the animals are acting out of people living close to them because of urbanization and whatever. The people's presence somehow provokes them. Two things, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, we believe that living close to a village or whatever does not incentivize the animal to attack you, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that humans and animals can live in perfect harmony, as we see such places like India, where monkeys basically are your neighbors, ladies and gentlemen, where you can interact with them and not be threatened. We believe that not all elephants that live close to villages in Katima end up trampling kids. We believe that specific ones do, and we want to deal with those specific ones, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that just because you live close to an animal isn't reason enough for these people to come and tell you it's justified that you died, you live close to them, it's your fault, ladies and gentlemen. We don't believe that's reason enough. And secondly, we do believe that, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, just because we live close to an animal, first, it's not justified, and secondly, we believe that it is the nature of human beings to move to areas out of desperation to use those resources. And we do not believe that we should be able to die to the hands of an animal because we live in a place where we're just trying to get access to water and whatnot, ladies and gentlemen. We do not believe that it is justified. And secondly, she comes and tells us how it reduces the stigma towards killing animals and incentivizes people to do so. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, this is a blatant lie, because humans, believe it or not, are rational actors, ladies and gentlemen. Humans just don't go out on a killing spree to animals because the government says said if a lion kills you, you're allowed to put it down, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that even in Namibia, the government will not prosecute you. It is legal to kill someone. Once they have attacked you, it is called self-defense. You will not be put in jail. But you don't have people going on killing sprees claiming self-defense, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that the people are able to make the distinction between a lion is trying to kill me, ladies and gentlemen, and it has killed my son. I'm allowed to put it down, and I just saw a lion and I'm going to kill it. And secondly, we tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, this is false incentive because they never told us why you want to kill an animal just because the government legalizes it, ladies and gentlemen. We tell you that already it's illegal to just kill an animal. It's poaching. You will be prosecuted by the government. And even in our world, that still exists. But secondly, we tell you that there is no incentive to the person to go and kill a lion just because they want to. There is no benefit to you as a person. You do not benefit in any way, shape, or form. Financially, it doesn't benefit you. Socially, you're gonna go to jail because it's illegal in Namibia. And there's no incentive for the person to come and kill an animal just because it's legal, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that at the end of the day, humans are rational, and we do not want to kill these animals that we have mentioned. We want to kill the problematic animals that are putting your lives at danger. Second speaker comes up and tells us, ladies and gentlemen, that we didn't say what problematic is, but clearly we did, because we told you it's the animals that are putting your life in danger specifically, not just because it belongs to that species. Then secondly, he also comes and tells us that we are in his argument about how they are sentient beings and we have to protect their rights, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, we tell that animals are not sentient beings. The word sentient means you are a rational actor, ladies and gentlemen, who is able to recognize your consciousness and act about it and like do things like plan your future. We believe that animals are not sentient because a lion doesn't care how many kudu or whatever it kills, ladies and gentlemen, because it doesn't care if the kudu population is suffering. It just wants to deal with its own problems first. And that is why we believe that animals, in the end of the day, are not sentient. And even if they were, we believe that the human sentience is superior over theirs and we want to protect people. Why do we win today's debate? Because we're supposed to tell you why it is the best way to deal with the problematic animals. We already told you why moving and tranquilizing does not help, ladies and gentlemen. We've already told you why it's the most effective way to do this and how this does not harm innocent animals, but it protects the lives of innocent human beings.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am the third speaker for side opposition. We only believe in killing animals out of necessity. If there's an alternative solution, this should not be done. We told you that there are solutions for humans. We gave you actually solutions for humans and animals. They did not focus on that. We gave you many alternatives besides killing animals, like moving them to game reserves, and then in that way we protect both humans and animals. Killing animals creates incentive for cruelty. We told you that animal abuse leads to less. We told you that animal abuse leads to less stigma. Leads to less stigma. Not taken. It's immoral to clean. And we also said that it's very immoral to kill animals. And we don't. Side proposition failed to realize that They fail to realize the circumstances which lead animals to killing. To killing people. They fail to realize the circumstances under which animals become problematic. They do not become problematic just because they decided that they're going to trample on animals, which is the picture that is being painted on people, actually, which is the picture that's being painted by side proposition. We are telling you right now that animals were actually here before human beings, okay? It is actually the people's fault that animals become problematic because people found animals here, and then they took over the land in order to build their homes, and all of that. Not taken. Okay, moving the animals also disrupts the ecosystem. We said that animals are sentient, which means that animals are living beings, meaning that they can feel pain, they feel hurt, they feel everything. So it would be very inhumane to kill an animal just because it is being an animal, as our first speaker said. And then when third speaker said that we gave no incentive, there's no incentive of why animals should be killed. We're telling you that, so there is incentive. There is. No. Okay, saying okay to killing animals is you basically saying okay that it's good to poach animals, which could actually lead to them becoming extinct. Okay.
Are you aware that the government has been implementing this moving the animal and tranquilizing it for years, but kids in Caprivia are still being trampled? How do we not deal away with it when we remove the problematic animal?
So, basically, what you are not understanding is the animals are being moved, okay? It is a proper way. Okay, quickly.
The government has been moving these animals to places like Etosha for years, but kids are still being trampled. It's ineffective. How do we not deal away with the problem of problematic animals by killing them?
Okay. So the thing is, right, the animals being moved the animals are being tranquilized. So the government hasn't been moving all of the animals, that's the problem, okay? If we take what we're saying is that you can take that specific those animals in that area, tranquilize them, wait for them to fall asleep, take them and then move them. It does become effective. Your question refers to one single animal that it does. Your question refers to one single animal that does not, how do I put this? Your question refers to a single animal and not to those that have already been moved, so, yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you why we won, okay? So, so the main clashes in the debate was when, the main clashes in the debate for side proposition brought up the fact that humans are vulnerable, right? But then we as side opposition also we crushed that because we pointed out that there are other alternatives, okay, that are actually effective. Animals can, like the fact that animals do get being moved it removes the whole point. Yeah. So.
Before you leave, ma'am.
Yes.
There have been instances where lions escape Etosha and kill people in surrounding areas. Separating them from society doesn't fix the problem. How do you better that?
Okay, so separating them from, so basically, Etosha is not the only game reserve that we have in Namibia, okay? We have other game reserves, so we can move it to other places. Leaving the end, it's not, yeah. We have other places. Thank you.
All right, that was a very informative debate right here on Straight Talk. Join us again next time for another informative one. But before you go away, we of course want to know who won this particular debate, because we get very interesting arguments from both sides where proposition tells us that human life above all else, and opposition tells us that we of course need to protect the animals because they are sentient beings. So while our adjudicators deliberate on this very hot, heated debate, because I would not want to be in an adjudicator's seat, please watch this video of the NMH Media Camp and we'll be right back with the final decision.
We'll see in ethics. Yes, it does happen. But you never manipulate a story as a journalist unless you write an opinion piece. Otherwise it becomes very laborious if you are just quoting it on paper.
Okay, so this is our school newspaper. We have the main heading, we have the main photo, and then the news about this main photo, and then advertisements of F&B.
So put this one under, and then the reader might think that these two are related. So I decided to put it on top just to clear the fact that these two are not related.
First picture, second picture, and on the side we have the infographic.
Picture underneath, because we can't show the face first and then come to the story, because we wonder like who is this and what. First we wanted to find out about this part was empty, so we had to improvise, and so we cut from the career magazine, and so we created this. We put it really cool.
And this is what we want to do for our readers.
So how was the day? You guys enjoyed it? Yeah. You're learning a lot. Yes. Okay. So just from a standpoint point of view, the reason why media is so important for us, media for us is what makes us or break us as a brand. So it's important that we have really close relationship with you guys. You are the future journalists and editor and everything. So it's really important for us to have good relationship with the media in terms of brand. Okay. So if your brand is tarnished in the media, it's a reputational thing that you have to really work over time to build and to change the perception into a positive one. That's what we are. We do everything what we can do to have a better, well-established relationship with the media.
It's actually amazing that you all came to the realization about how powerful media is. It shapes our thinking. What we expose ourselves to every day influences the way we think and ultimately also the way we behave.
How are we going to have fun with our editors or our interns? Interns, how are we going to have fun with our interns? And we thought, why don't we play a game? To begin is the intern from Green World White, and that is Albi. So he's the first contender. Yes. Time starts now. Okay, clue number one. It's a popular delicacy in Bantu. It's a Namibian version of barbecue, and it's kabana. It's the annual where you give the award to the musicians. Okay. The capital town of that region is Boshakani.
Boshana?
It's a government institution, missing millions. and Rushay Shidute. Everyone, but then I want to give a big thank you to Michelle and Natalie. And then I'd like to thank, but you guys, everybody thanks him, but I also want to thank Lily. He was one of the few people, no, the first people that I met when I started off as an intern in LMH. And there was something that he taught me that I take even with my writing. So in one of my articles, I wrote, it was an article that I did in the Kamango region, where we got statistics on the high death rates of women who give birth in hospitals. So in my article I said, with statistics reviewed to the Namibian Sun, and then I was like, Kuno, why do you say review? What's the secret?
Guys, I think it's very important for us to end this evening off by saying a big, huge thank you to these young, inspiring, two awesome two ladies.
Okay, now you remember when I told you I wouldn't want to be in the shoes of an adjudicator? Here's the unfortunate young lady who had to fill those shoes today. Michelle, please tell me, how did you find that debate?
The debate itself was good. The adjudicators were split, basically, on the decision at the end of the day. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah, it does. So without wasting any more time, everybody is obviously very curious as to who the adjudicators decided was going to take this debate today. And I see the debaters are looking at me as well with so much enthusiasm. So please, take us through what you decided.
So before we tell you who won, let's be a little boring first and just tell you what we heard from the debate. So what we hear from Team Proposition essentially is, look, the government has a mandate to protect its citizens, right? And at the end of the day, human lives trump animal lives. Animal rights are a secondary right, not a primary one like human rights, right? What we also hear from them is, look, we want an immediate solution, okay? We don't just want to we don't want to take these animals to that place because it's going to take a while. We want solutions now, basically. What we also hear from Team Proposition is, look, we don't want to kill them, but they characterize what a problematic animal is, and they've said, listen, enough is enough. We can't take this anymore. Therefore, we think we should kill them. What we hear from team opposition is, one, we come and hear about morality, how it's immoral, in this instance, to kill the animal, right? We also come and hear of the importance of animal rights and the roles that animals play in our ecosystem as well, right? They also come and tell us that, death should also be a last resort, but let's give you some other solutions at the end of the day. So, 2-1 split, we give this debate to team opposition.
Yay!
So the reason why we gave it to team opposition as opposed to team proposition, not that prop had a bad case, but what we really like from team opposition is the fact that it caters for both animals and humans. Look, we understand that, animal rights are secondary to human rights, but if we can get a solution that encompasses both humans and animals, we think that's the best case. We also like the fact that, of course, there were cracks in their case, but we also like the fact that from the first speaker of team opposition, she really comes and says, look, even if we put them in these reserves and you have a few animals escaping every now and then, she really comes and tells us that's a very isolated case. It's not something that happens all that often. Therefore, we think this is the best solution at the end of the day. Thank you.
All right, that was fair enough, of course. So there you have it, team opposition won this debate. So if you want another lit debate, as the youngsters would call it, if you want another lit debate, join us next week on the Zone Facebook pages to bring you yet another informative and educational debate. Thank you to all our speakers for coming through, and thank you especially for joining us. Watch us again next time, okay? I'm getting ahead of my words here because I'm way too excited, but of course we'll bring the excitement again next time. Do tune in.